In this video, we discuss the recent extension of the state of emergency in Myanmar. The military junta has announced this extension for another 6 months. This decision aims to prepare for elections promised later this year. The announcement was made by the military-controlled National Defense and Security Council. During the meeting, coup leader Senior General Min Aung Hlaing stated that more time is needed to restore stability. He mentioned that the elections must be systematic, free and fair. The state-run Global New Light of Myanmar reported on these comments. The junta emphasized the need for peace and stability in relevant regions. The extension comes just 1 day before the 4th anniversary of the military coup that overthrew the civilian government in 2021. This marks the 7th time the junta has extended the state of emergency. They have struggled to quell a nationwide uprising against their rule. Min Aung Hlaing cited widespread acts of terrorism and violence throughout the country as reasons for the delay. The military regime has lost territory to ethnic armed groups and anti-regime militias. These groups seek to overthrow the junta. The losses have been particularly severe in Rakhine State. The Arakan army has managed to confine the Myanmar military to small areas. In northern Shan State, the Three Brotherhood Alliance has captured large territories and controlled key trade routes with China. The United Nations estimates that more than 3 million people have been displaced due to the ongoing conflict. Additionally, around 1/3 of the population is in need of humanitarian assistance. A recent report from the United Nations Development Programme described the situation as a polycrisis. This polycrisis includes political instability, entrenched conflict, economic disruptions, severe human rights violations, and environmental degradation. The report marks that millions have been pushed into poverty. Half of the population now lives below the poverty line, with another third barely above it. Coverage of the coup's anniversary by the Irrawaddy described Myanmar as a battleground. Millions are suffering the consequences of the ongoing conflict. Despite the junta's plans, there are low expectations for free and inclusive elections. In 2023, the junta dissolved 40 political parties, including the National League for Democracy. Organizing even a sham election will be challenging under the current circumstances. Since the coup, the regime has repeatedly delayed its election plans. The deteriorating security situation has worsened since the end of 2023. The junta's pre-election census was only fully conducted in 145 out of 330 townships. Partial counts were conducted in 127 townships, while no data was collected in 58 townships. Reports suggest that the junta plans to hold elections in 160 to 170 townships, likely towards the end of the year. China has emerged as a strong partner for the junta in this election plan. Beijing supports the polls as a potential step towards a political settlement. It aims to contain the ongoing conflict. China has encouraged major rebel groups in northern Shan State to cease their offensives. Some groups have agreed to return to the negotiating table. The Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army recently agreed to a ceasefire. This ceasefire may involve its withdrawal from the city of Lashio. Even with China's support, the junta may struggle to administer an election. The extension of the state of emergency indicates a lack of confidence in announcing a definitive election date. This uncertainty could provoke renewed military operations by resistance groups. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations has advised caution regarding the elections. ASEAN foreign ministers have urged the junta to prioritize dialogue and cease the violence. Independent analyst David Mathieson warns that any attempt to hold elections may face strong opposition from resistance groups. Many of these groups have expressed intentions to prevent the polls in their territories. There is risk that these elections could lead to violence. Revolutionary forces may target polling stations, election officials, and party candidates. The situation remains tense as Myanmar approaches the potential for elections amidst ongoing conflict.